Hello and welcome to our season 6 predictions and discussion for the 100. It's going to be returning on April 30th, and we just got done looking at the trailer together. I'm very, very excited. I thought that was a great trailer. The extended one that was 4 minutes. It seemed to have a lot of content for us to kind of unpack, but I did want to say full disclosure, neither of us have read the book. I did like how it started with saying book two, and it kind of referenced that they're gonna be getting to that content, I think, pretty quickly, and I'm excited to see what they've got because it seems like they've got a lot of factions already that established that they can draw on that seems similar to things we've seen in the past, like grounders and people like the people in Mount Weather. I thought that the paintings in Sanctum, I'm pretty sure it was Sanctum that had all those paintings. That seemed very similar to all the paintings that were underground to Mount Weather. So I think there's going to be some really cool parallels between that and season two, but also just like interesting parallels between this season and all the other seasons with grounders and underground people, and who knows what else. Maybe we'll see some AI and new stuff too. I'm still holding out for clones. I don't know about you, but I want to see something
All you talk
cool.
about is the clones.
I like sci-fi. I think it'd be cool for them to do something like that, but I think this season is going to be more about callbacks to things like maybe the veil. I thought that green thing reminded me a lot of the veil that they used at Mount Weather, and I'm interested to see if that's kind of man-made or if it's like a natural occurrence. I'm pretty sure the psychosis is just like the eclipse psychosis is just like a natural occurring phenomenon, right?
I guess, yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking now, like, maybe the digital sky has to do with that. Like, it keeps out most of the bad energy until the eclipse happens, and then there's, like, too much sun energy or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, they seem to have something on their perimeter at the very least. I noticed the electric fence. I didn't really notice the perimeter until you pointed out that there seemed to be some kind of artificial sky, which completely went over my head. There's like a million things in each minute that you can
Yeah.
miss in the
It just
first
reminds,
watching of the
like,
trailer.
that whole scene of Sanctum right in the beginning where it's like, everyone's so happy, reminds me so much of the Hunger Games. Like, I don't
Hmm.
know if you've seen those movies, but it seriously is, like, spot on for that. Um,
The
yeah, with
colors and everything. Yeah, it definitely did
well,
feel like that.
but the digital sky was more what I was talking about, and then like the two tiers of society.
Yeah,
Like,
I was thinking I was getting a lot of like utopia, but like very dystopian utopia vibes from that whole like society. It seems like they got a lot of things under control, but if you dig deep into it, it's probably because they're sacrificing something really like human about themselves to get to that point. So I'm interested to see what their whole deal is with the people in the masks. I think the people in the masks are going to end up being more good guys than bad guys, but people don't trust our people outright because right away because they don't know them. They don't know what they're capable of, and quite frankly, they've got some bad people with them. Dioza is a pretty bad person. She's done a lot of pretty terrible things. Um, so is
I mean, so is
Octavia.
Octavia. Yeah. Oh,
You,
Jinx.
Jinx, you're thinking the same thing. She's done some horrible things, but I think this season might be a good season for her to have a bit of a redemption. I I did
They
see a
didn't set it up for redemption. They set it up for her just like still going down that horrible path that she's on.
I did watch a tiny little interview before we talked because I couldn't help myself from looking at things, and I didn't want it to influence this video too much, but I feel like I know a little bit of what they're gonna try and do with Octavia, which kind of brings me to love interests. I do want to talk to you about like Clarke and Bellamy and Echo, obviously, but I'm really interested to know if you think there's anybody out there that Octavia could potentially date. If you think maybe anybody in the trailer would be like a potential love interest for her, because I know when I watched the trailer before I watched this interview, I was like, oh, maybe that's gonna be who Octavia finally gets over Lincoln with. I don't know.
don't know. I kind of hope they don't. Like, what a cop out for such a strong female character, you know? She
I
has to be in a relationship. Like, I would prefer if they just ignored that for at least one more season.
I know what you mean. She seems pretty strong on her own, but I feel like they may go in that direction. I'm just not sure who it's going to be, or if it's just going to be one person. She may actually have two love interests. But for me, I thought it was going to be the Grounder. I thought she might have another relationship with the Grounder, the guy who pulls off his mask and says like, what was it? Something like the harder you fight, the faster you die. He seemed like a potential ally, and I'm not sure if there's any other people out there that might be his love interest. Maybe Echo, after Bellamy gets over Echo. Maybe Echo gets separated from Bellamy, and that's when Bellamy Clarke becomes a thing. Because I think they may mirror the whole love triangle that they did with Spacewalker, Raven, and Clarke in the first season by doing another love triangle, but they may have learned their lesson. Love triangles aren't exactly fun. That isn't what a lot of people enjoy when they come for these types of sci-fi shows, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. What was the last relationship that Octavia had? Like, wasn't it before she
Ilan?
became evil queen lady?
Yeah, I think it was that like farmer
I think
guy. Do you remember the one that
no.
she fought to death in
You
that
know,
like Hunger Games arena? I think
I
it was
think
him.
that at this point she's too far gone. Maybe she can come back, but I don't think it's gonna happen in one season.
Yeah,
Especially the way they've been doing seasons, they're like only like 2 or 3 weeks in real time, or in real time.
yeah. I think you're right. I think whoever she does have the relationship with, and I think I might know who it's going to be based on an interview and a question that seemed very, yeah, like they had information from behind the scenes and they probably shouldn't have had that information. I think they're going to start pushing her in the direction of finding a love interest, not maybe being a love interest right away, but this season they're going to start building it kind of like they did with Miller and Jackson in the last season. So maybe not this season, but maybe they'll work towards it, which would be kind of nice. I mean, she's had some pretty rough times recently, and I don't know. At the same time, she's cool. She doesn't really need anybody else. I noticed in the trailer we didn't see Indra or Gaia.
That's not true. We did see Indra.
We did see Indra. At which point did we see Indra?
They just showed a little clip of her like looking around.
That makes me
Um,
nervous.
well, okay, maybe you should watch it again.
I don't know.
I don't remember seeing Gaia, but it's possible she was there.
They seem kind of like characters they could kill off, and I like both of them.
Hmm.
On the second viewing, I did notice that Amori is in there quite a bit. I didn't see her at first. You didn't recognize her with her hair done the way it was, not in the little head thingy head wrap. But yeah, not sure how much she actually was in the trailer. I think she was just kind of like in the background on a lot of scenes. Like
Mm.
probably when Murphy kicked down the door, she was there. I think she'll probably be one of the main characters that they send out and about. And I don't know. I hope she doesn't die, but I feel like she's one of those characters they might get rid of, and then who knows? They can do different things with Murphy, but chances are they're going to be a relationship again, right?
I hope so. I think that would be nice.
They're kind of good for each other. I think you said you liked the way they kind of complemented each other and kind of had like complicated pasts, right?
Hmm.
But I think at heart they were good people. So I did notice also that Maddie was in some kind of like, I don't know how do you what to call it, but she had something on her head like an electric looking thing in some kind of white clean room. It looked like she'd been abducted and kind of experimented on a little bit. And I'm interested to see if that has anything to do with her being a night blood, if it has anything to do with the fact that she's got that special blood. Because I know the people who came before, the people who were sent to this planet before them, they had some form of night blood before they got there. And I'm not exactly sure if that's going to start, if that's going to play a role in the people in Sanctum or the Grounders, or if there's any difference between the two populations, maybe one adopted the Nightblood and one did not. Maybe that has something to do with the psychosis.
I think that will have more to do with how she said, like, I see a one commander who frightens me all the time, you know? I think it's gonna have more to do with that. Or
Mm-hmm.
something to do with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if those storylines will actually those two points will actually meet, because I think that they're gonna have something with the loyal grounders. Like one of the people mentioned in the wiki was Brell. She was the one that was very loyal to the idea of a commander, and
Mm.
I think they'll do something with her and the commander stuff. But something about that whole, like the look of it felt like Mount Weather, like she'd been removed from the group and she was being experimented on, or they were doing something to her to kind of like change how she thought, or who knows, something about her Nightblood. I'm not entirely sure, but it to me it didn't feel like something that her allies were doing to her to kind of like understand that commander. But maybe they kind of did something to her,
Well,
and
yeah, no,
that's why she was saying it.
I don't think they're allies because Clarke said my child's out there missing, right? In
Right.
not in a positive way. So yeah.
I totally missed that. I forgot about that. Why would her child go missing again? She gotta keep a closer eye on Maddie.
Seriously, that kid's like all over the place.
Little ninja. She's just like Clarke. She doesn't listen to her grown-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what else did I put in here? I actually talked about a good amount of what I had in the notes before we ended up talking. I'm yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with Jordan and how he interacts with all the other characters, because they introduced him pretty last minute at the end of the last season, and it seemed to be like he was gonna be their moral compass, but maybe less so than what they initially indicated, because he's grown up off of stories of how they had to survive on the ground, which meant they had to do. He probably knows about all the horrific things they had to do just to get by, and how Monty killed his mom twice. Like, he's gonna have a moral compass, but he's definitely gonna understand the the, the lengths in which people sometimes have to go in order to protect those that they care about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything on your notes that you wanted to talk about? I think you said something about how the people living in Sanctum seem to disappear. Like,
Yeah, once the eclipse was happening, it seemed like they all just kind of like they didn't. There was no footage of them during the eclipse. Kind of that like first person, like shaky, very like bobblehead. I'm not sure how to like really wide angle lens. Um, there was nothing of like any of the native people during that time. So I'm curious what that's gonna be like how that happened.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Like they've probably seen this who knows how many times, but it's probably not something that happens too
yeah, and
irregularly.
if it does happen a lot, why didn't they do anything to help, you know, the 100 people? Or, you know, the main characters who were down there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also curious because it seemed like not all of the Earth people came down to visit Sanctum. It seemed like a lot of them stayed on a ship or something, um, which is interesting. I kind of want to know if they're going to go back and forth or just like forget about the people on the ship for a while or how they're going to deal with that.
My guess is that they only woke up like the main cast plus, I don't know, 10, 15 other people, but it may just simply be the main cast is the only people awake because they're the only ones that they want to risk at this point. They don't know what's down there and they don't feel like jeopardizing everybody else. That seems kind of silly to me, because these the main cast are all like very important people to their society, their organization, and risking just all of the important shot callers seems kind of silly. They kind of need expendable people to help them with just guarding and keeping an eye out for danger. They don't necessarily have to all be diplomats. So I am interested to see what's going on with the people um, who were frozen. I would imagine they're all just frozen for the first part of the season. Maybe they're just strained on resources and they don't want to like use all their food before they have anything to really go around, so they just woke up the essentials, and that's why they're the only ones out. But I have to imagine by halfway through the season or later that Maddie's gonna have her grounder army on the surface. Like that seems like something they're gonna want to use and explore. So I don't know how long it's gonna take, but this show's a really fast. Like things happen a lot quicker than you expect. You think, oh, this is gonna be what takes up the rest of this season. This is such a task that they have to over that they have to, or such an ordeal they have to overcome. But then they're done with it in an episode, and then they've introduced 3 or 4 other things like that in the next couple episodes that they have to try and tackle. So I don't see them staying in space for too long. Who knows? Maybe it's gonna get blown up, and it's just gonna be like the main cast.
Anything's possible, I guess.
I think they have to start adding more characters before they kill off anyone else. Like they need more people from these other factions to become main characters before they get rid of the people in space.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that'll be like halfway through this next season. They'll take their time with it. But yeah, I'm super excited. April 30th cannot come soon enough. And yeah, I'm excited to actually be doing some of these in person. The first few are going to be done like this, where we record them over the weekend, just due to, of course. But we're not able to see each other too easily until the summer, and then we'll be able to do these or do something like this, a little review of the episode and reactions, and maybe even predictions for things that are coming up on the day of. I think by the 4th episode or so, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I remember, at least from when we last looked at things.
I don't know. I get off work out May 17th, so
yes,
the next one is.
I gotta mark that in the calendar. All right, until next time, have a good one.